Yeah, that was my most out of it. We were 6 times. Christmas Day. We were in it. That's better.
Here.
Okay. I have some changes to the agenda. On consent agenda, item C, it is 4/1/19 is the effective date. I don't have that on my copy, sorry. Okay. Item L has been deleted. We are setting the public hearing date for item N on the 7th at 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. Are there any other deletions or changes to the agenda? Okay. Okay, the consent agenda is as follows. We have claims for $807,648.25. We have fringes of $15.84. Item B, minutes to approve the regular meeting minutes of April 2nd, 2019. Item C, approve hire of Kevin Brown for seasonal conservation worker effective April 1st, 2019. Item D, approve suspension of requested property taxes for 2018 tax year pursuant to Iowa Code 427.9. Item E, approve abatement of mobile home tax for title number 91AB 89501 pursuant to Iowa Code 435.25. F, approve fireworks license for St. Mary's Rod and Gun Club. G, set public hearing date of May 7th, 2019 at 9:35 a.m. for rezoning of land from A1 to C2, submitted by Andrew Pleva. Item H, set public hearing date of May 7th, 2019 at 9:40 a.m. for rezoning of land from A1 to RR1 to M1 submitted by John Shannon, ATD Properties. I set public hearing date of May 7th, 2019 at 9:45 a.m. for the following amendments to the zoning ordinance. Amendment to Chapter 40, Section 40.04, Number 31 of the zoning ordinance. B, amendment to Chapter 40, Section 40.13 of the zoning ordinance. C, amendment to Chapter 41, 41.02, parentheses 1L, in parentheses, Section 41.04, parentheses 1J, in parentheses, Section 41.05, parentheses 1K, in parentheses, Section 41.06, parentheses 1C, in parentheses, Section 41.07, parentheses 1I, in parentheses, and Section 41.09, parentheses 2B, in parentheses, of the zoning ordinance. Amendment to Chapter 41, Section 41.02, parentheses 1, in parentheses, of the zoning ordinance. E, amendment to Chapter 41, Section 41.02, parentheses 1, in parentheses, Section 41.10, parentheses 1, in parentheses, Section 41.11, parentheses 1, parentheses, and Section 41.12, parentheses 1, in parentheses, of the zoning ordinance. F, amendment to Chapter 41, Section 41.04, parentheses 7F, in parentheses. G, amendment to Chapter 41, Section 41.10, parentheses 1, in parentheses. And H, amendment to 41, Section 41.12, parentheses 4D, and in 4D, in parentheses, and Section 41.13, parentheses 3D, in parentheses, and 3E, in parentheses. J, approve right-of-way acquisition between Calling June Blackford and Warren County. K, approve application for use of administration board room. M, set public hearing date of May 7th, 2019 at 9:55 a.m. to consider conveying parcel number 29000210489, and set public hearing date of May 7th, 2019 at 10 a.m. regarding 63rd Avenue between Gear Street and Grimes Street. I would accept a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I move the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Jason?
Bitcook,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye. Okay, agenda 2, public hearing regarding proposed plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost of the Warren County Courthouse demolition with possible action.
I move we go to public hearing.
Second.
Jason?
Schultz,
Aye.
Bitcook,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye. Okay, we are in public hearing. Does anyone, need to speak to this motion? Is that DCI?
Just give everybody time.
That was your cue.
So you should have the, I know the plans and the specifications are here, form of contract here. I emailed Megan back on March 13th what the estimate was for the demolition of the courthouse along with the utility work that we're also doing at the same time. You should have that information. There was $585,000 for all that.
Okay, do we have any members of the public that would like to voice their opinion about these plans, specifications, form of contract, estimated total cost of the demolition?
Crystal, were there more than one bid?
Yes, there were.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to read all of them?
That's the
So
Okay,
that's the
I was
next-
gonna do that
That's the
next
second
item.
hearing.
That's the next item on our agenda. Okay, thank you.
Just a question, is there any recycling of any of the demolition going to occur?
No.
And why not?
The contractor may recycle it, but the county's not recycling it.
Is there anything in the bid documents that would encourage the contractor to
Yes,
recycle?
they're encouraged to do so, but we don't require them to do so.
I would suggest in the future to rethink that and encourage it even harder to be recycled.
Okay, well, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Schultz,
Aye.
DeCook,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye. Okay, let's see. Okay, what action do we need to take on this, other than moving to the second?
you need to approve the proposed plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost of Warren County Courthouse demolition.
And then go into the bids.
Yeah, and then go into the second public hearing, correct?
Alright. So any questions regarding the proposed plans, specifications, form of contract?
I would move.
Move approval of that.
Yes.
Said proposed plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost.
Yes.
And I will second it, but let's have the bidder be encouraged again to recycle if possible.
Tracy?
Schultz,
Aye.
DeCook,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye. Okay. Item number 3 on our agenda is public hearing regarding bid results and award for the Warren County Courthouse demolition with possible action.
I move to go to public hearing.
Second.
Schultz,
Aye.
DeCook,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye.
All right, we opened up bids on April 2nd. We had 2 separate packages. We had bid package number 2, which was the demolition of the courthouse and the courthouse grounds. And the second bid package was bid package 3, which was the utility work. We received, which you should have bid tabs for both packages. We received 4 bids for the building demolition and 1 bid for the utility work. We recommended via our letter that we sent to supervisors on April 3rd, that the demolition be awarded to D.W. Zinser Company and the utility work be awarded to Vanderpool Construction Company. The low bid amounts by those contractors, the demolition bid was in the amount of $139,900, and the utility bid from Vanderpool Construction was $196,000.
And if the other bids were considerably higher than 139,
The other bids, 2 of them were relatively close, and 1 was considerably higher, yes.
And was there a reason why additional bids weren't submitted regarding package number 3?
I don't have any reasoning other than, people were just busy. The utility guys have a lot of work right now, being the time of year, and, just not interested, frankly.
Can we open that up to anybody in the public that would like to address this issue?
I'm sorry. I want to ask another question. Was there any stipulation on those bids where the disposal site is?
No, disposal site, no, they're just, they have to follow DNR regulations and basically the law where everything has to go.
Okay, except recycled materials, which aren't a commodity, aren't required under the DNR regulations or law. I just wanted to make sure that because the county is a member of the South Central Iowa Landfill Association, that it go to that landfill, what's being disposed of, not to, because of the comprehensive planning regulations that are, under DNR regulations. FYI.
All I can say is noted.
Are there any other public comments?
I just wanna ask, you said that a couple of the bids were relatively close, does that mean they were under, over?
I can tell you, I can read all the amounts. In no particular order, first bid open was from Dorr and Associates Contracting out of Michigan. Their bid was $224,700. The second bid opening was opened from DeCarlo Demolition Company out of Des Moines. Their bid was $323,560. The third bid opened was from Elder Corporation out of Des Moines. Their bid was $649,980. The fourth bid was from D.W. Zinser out of Walford, Iowa, and their bid was in the amount of $139,900.
Well, once again, or not even once again, but I guess, why is the Vanderpool, seem to be the one that's gonna do that then, based on the.
Vanderpool's doing the utility work, not the demolition.
And they couldn't provide that. And the other companies couldn't provide that or wouldn't provide that,
They're not utility contractors.
and Vanderpool did.
No, there's two separate bid packages. The one package is the demolition of the courthouse. The other package is storm sewer work.
Okay, and so Vanderpool was the lowest?
For the storm sewer, yes.
They were the only,
They were the only bid.
So it's not, not the demolition of the.
They didn't bid the demolition.
Two different things which I can't differentiate, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
move we go back to regular session.
Second.
Schultz,
Aye.
McCook,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye. Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept Vanderpool Construction as our demolition utility work, and D.W. Zinger Company as our, oh, sorry, did I get that wrong?
No.
Okay, they are doing the removal of the demolition for bid package number 2 at $139,900.
Let me clarify that.
Okay.
Bid package 2 should be awarded to D.W. Zinser Company for the demolition work related to the project. Bid package 3 should be awarded to Vanderpool Construction Company for the utility work related to the project.
Is that 3 or 2?
One was the removal of the asbestos.
Yeah, bid package 1 was abatement back in December, January.
I understand.
I try not to reuse numbers, it's like bid package 1 is coming on, now we're on to 2 and 3, so there's never no confusion about the numbers.
Thank you for the clarification, appreciate it.
I remove the motion.
Second.
Schultz,
Aye.
McCook,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye. Okay. Okay, we have item number 4, another public hearing regarding fiscal year 2019 budget amendment with possible action. We accept a motion to go into public hearing.
we isolated a bunch of different areas where we needed to amend the budget. And then additionally, we had the engineer's office come to us afterwards, requesting an additional amendment with the spring thaw that we had, for $350,000 additional dollars for rock within his budget. So the amendment before you has the, addition of $500,000 to our revenue, which is the estimate for the amount of lost revenue that we will receive from now through the end of the fiscal year. It has a change in operating transfers of $300,000. $250,000 of that transfer will be from, go to the secondary roads fund. $50,000 will go to the nutrition fund. Public safety, there is an amendment for $165,000 to expenditures. This is $100,000 for the sheriff's office, medical examiner $15,000, and the district court for $50,000. Those were all items that we discussed at the budget time when we went through re-estimates. Line item 22 is the $350,000 amendment to the engineer's rock budget. Line item 23 is a $20,000 budget amendment to the auditor's office for the county special election. So the total of expenditures is $1,035,000, and transfers of $300,000, and the revenues of $500,000. Do you have questions regarding the amendment before you?
Do we have any questions from the public regarding these budget amendments?
I'd like to know, because we're not there yet, but I'm going.
Excuse me, sir, would it be possible for you to come up, state your name and your address, and then state your question? Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Tom Thacker. I live at 17020 150th Ave. My question is, they buy rock, but do they have any idea what kind of rock they should be buying? When you're filling mud holes, you don't put 1 inch rock in a mud hole. You put 2 inch, 2.5 inch. You make the mud hole go away, you fix the problem. The problem shouldn't exist in the first place, but it does. I don't care if it snowed 50 inches. I won't go there because it's not timed as far as I can tell. But the roads are not humped in the middle. They don't drain. I take home 300 to 700 pounds of mud in my vehicle. I have a garage. I intend to park in it. I'd like to park in it. It's not possible. I pay taxes for the very reason that I expect that road to be maintained. I don't know what's going on. It's not maintained. Maybe it was never built, but it's got a problem. And somebody needs to address that problem.
We will be addressing that later.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We're still in public. I think we go back for
Second.
Schultz?
Aye.
Cook?
Aye.
McIntyre?
Aye. We need to have an amendment for our fiscal year 2019 budget. So will we accept those amendments?
I move that we amend the 2019 budget as made and presented to us.
Second.
Schultz?
Aye.
Cook?
Aye.
McIntyre?
Aye. Moving on into the item number 5, public hearing regarding amendment to chapter 41 of the zoning ordinance with possible action.
I move we go to public hearing.
Second.
Schultz?
Aye.
Cook?
Aye.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Okay. This was in front of you last month, and we discussed trying to get the applicant, Justin Kaplan, who made the ordinance amendment application for our office for an ordinance change to add appliance manufacturing. At that time, he had proposed it via special use permit under the A1 section. After that public hearing that night, it was discussed that maybe we bring it back to the zoning commission and present it as a principal permitted use. It's regulated through, the state and the federal, it's so highly regulated. So I took that back to the zoning commission last week, and they voted to recommend denial of the zoning change. And they would like to see it brought back as a special use permit. However, again, then that brings us back to, another time delay. So I'm, because it went to the supervisor, to the zoning commission as a allowed use in the A1 district, that's what I'm presenting to you tonight. And I recommend that you, put it in as a permitted use under the A1 section of the ordinance, so. They are the only appliance manufacturers in Warren County that I know of, and like I said, they're very heavily regulated through the state and federal regulations, so.
Did the zoning commission provide some reasoning?
Well, they were kind of all over the board that night. They discussed home occupations, they were back to the M1 zoning, they were back to the special use permit. Don, they really didn't.
They were all over the board, I don't know what they discussed. They didn't want to take up the suggestion of the board of supervisors, they wanted to go back to having it as a special use permit.
I think they were afraid of it being a new, a big nuisance to, on people's farms, and being like an eyesore, but the Kaplan's property, there's no appliances sitting outside. It takes place in a detached garage. One side of it he uses to demanufacture, do the actual demanufacturing, and then the other side of it, he moves those and then hauls those appliances out, and takes them back to recycle. So it's not a very lucrative business for them. It's really a service to the citizens of Warren County and to those of us, here in Warren County, so.
Thank you.
Is there any members of the public that would like to speak to this issue?
I'm Cindy Turco with Turco Clark Environmental Consulting, but I also am an Indianola resident, or Warren County resident. As I spoke last month and explained the permitting process that's required by the state and also the requirements of the federal government, like Lindsay was saying, yes, it's very highly regulated, and it is inspected by the DNR field office. So it's not something that would go by the wayside or anything like that. And because there is really no profit in it, you're not gonna see very many people jumping at the chance to do this. So I'm not gonna waste your time, you have plenty of other important things. If you have any questions, please ask, and I will be happy to answer.
Thank you. Any other members of the public would like to address this issue?
I move we go back to regular session.
Second.
Schultz,
Aye.
Rico,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye.
John, the motion should be that we amend chapter 41, that A1 property be permitted use.
it's the permitted use under A1 in chapter 41.
Chapter 41, as written and presented,
And then
That's my motion.
and waive if you wanna waive.
And anyway,
If you wanna waive the second, third readings.
I would waive the second, third reading.
And I happy to second that. Did we have some discussion last month about a sunset clause on it, or something that it reverts back to if and when these folks decide to get out of this business, or are we just?
This would be an actual ordinance change, so this would go in ordinance, and at that time, you know, we can.
Sure, we can always change this.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll second, the motion.
Schultz, Hiccup,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 6, consider amendment to Chi County contract for audiovisual consultant administration with possible action. Okay. Did you receive this agenda item 6? Okay. This was a letter obviously sent this past Monday, by the courts. Christopher Patterson, the court administrator, or the 5th Judicial. And they had suggested to Chi, the audiovisual contractor to hire, as well as it's mainly a lot of their equipment, although our attorneys do have, will be using some of this equipment, mostly it's for the courts. And we have tabled this, I know at the last meeting I was at, and then we did not address it at the last one. So we've had 2 meetings in which we could have addressed this, but we've tabled it because I wanted to make sure that we had an agreement in place so that the courts would pay for their share. This letter gives us that permission. However, a memorandum of understanding still needs to be drafted, as well as I talked to Mike Lewis of Chi Pattery, and he is willing to let us wait until we have that memorandum of understanding, so we can table this until next week, until we have a special meeting. So, just letting you know what's going on with the courthouse and jail with the audiovisual contract. Okay, item 7, consider vibration monitoring proposal from Terracon with possible action.
So this is a proposal you should have with you. It's a proposal that we, DCI Group, sought out. Just deciding based on removing the existing courthouse and square, we thought it'd be a good idea to monitor what we're doing there during demolition operations. What this type of service will do, it will record any sort of vibrations that we're causing just through our normal operations of demoing the courthouse every day until we're done. We'll get our email every day of what the readings were that day, and Terracon will actually establish what the current industry standard is for what's acceptable. If we, for some reason, should go over that, we actually get alerted immediately, so we can look at our means and methods and address anything that happens during that time. In terms of price, I just had them give me a monthly rate, not knowing exactly how long we'd want to do it. It would amount to roughly $5,000 a month if we want to pursue with that. So that's what that's about. I can answer any questions you have.
You recommend it? Yeah.
I would recommend it. I think it'd just be a good thing to have in hand later on, should somebody ever question anything. It would show, I think, a genuine effort to be conscious of what's going on. I mean, if we were out in the middle of a green field, miles from anybody, that'd be different. But just due to the proximity of all the adjacent neighbors and what's going on, I think it's a good idea.
Do others do this, other companies?
Do other companies do that? This is a little specialized. I didn't frankly, Terracon is someone you've already hired to do a lot of geotechnical work. I figured, given the amount and given the amount and given the specific type of service it was, I thought, well, why don't we just have them do it? That kind of money, it didn't really seem to make any sense to call around the world to try to find that kind of service.
And it's a per month basis, and the reasoning behind that?
The reasoning behind that is strictly, we want to start off a little bit before we do demolition, so we're recording when really nothing's going on.
The baseline?
And the baseline, and then cover it through, and right now, from a scheduling standpoint, the actual removal of what's above ground is about a month, and what's below ground is several weeks. So my thought was, if we get through that first month, and all the readings are top notch, we could just discontinue it. If it's marginal and we say, maybe we gotta just keep going, we can go to the next month. So I just figured doing it by month to month would make the most sense.
Okay. Appreciate it, thank you.
I have a quick question. While I don't have an issue with the cost of work, I actually kind of like that it'll give us a baseline, and I think that it's relatively positive. Is there any reason why that wasn't part of the demolition bid? I mean, I get that we're gonna pay for it one way or the other, but was there any reason why the contractor that we just hired to do the demolition didn't wrap that into their package?
We didn't give them instruction to do so. They'd have to go hire Terracon to do it. They couldn't do it themselves. And frankly, I think to make it independent makes it more transparent. So, from my perspective, what's the old phrase, something watching the cat house, I can't remember how that expression goes, but canary watching the cat, or the cat watching the canary, how that goes. But it was the whole idea, let's make it independent and just make it transparent.
Thank you.
I move that we accept Paragon's monitoring proposal at $5,000 per month for vibrations.
Is that with the understanding that we'll reassess it after a month?
I will advise the board where we're at and say either we could discontinue or we should continue. And I'll
So we just
explain
want to
why.
wait for a month. That's an amendment.
Well, with advice from them.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just send them an email and tell them that out.
It was a friendly amendment, and I'll second
Schultz,
Aye.
DeCook,
that.
McIntyre,
Aye. Item number 8, discussion of Central Iowa Workforce Development Realignment and future participation in the CEO Board, presented by Luke Nelson with possible action.
Madam Chair, Supervisors, thanks for allowing me to be here. I will be brief as well. The purpose of this is to talk about Workforce Development Board, and very simply, the Department of Labor, Federal Department of Labor, provides dollars to state and then local entities to simply connect people with jobs. And this is a very, very important role within Central Iowa, specifically because of our metro region. I actually serve on the Central Iowa Workforce Development Board. In my previous job, it was actually the county supervisors that appointed me to serve on that board. Since I've been on there, I now serve as the chairman of the Finance Committee. And it's been very educational and I believe very helpful. One of the things that I have learned since I've been on that board is that at a time when we often think that unemployment is so low, so therefore employment services aren't as important, I would say it's almost just the opposite. What we see now is because of low unemployment, it's those folks that are remaining looking for jobs that tend to have some of the most significant obstacles or hurdles to overcome to become employed. So there's a lot more challenges putting those folks to work. Right now, the state of Iowa has 15 regions, so there's 15 separate boards across the state of Iowa. And there is a realignment process taking place where we will go down to 6 regions. At that time that realignment happens, there will be very close attention on the central Iowa region or our area to look and see how we structure the setup. The reason I'm here is to encourage someone from Warren County, specifically one of the supervisors, to serve on the CEO board. It is a quarterly meeting commitment, so about 4 times a year. Those meetings generally last hour, hour and a half, depending on the amount of materials to have covered. The CEO board is ultimately the umbrella, and then I serve on a board underneath of that, where ultimate guidance comes from the CEO board down to our area, and then we have separate committees that go into some detail. Like I said, I work on the finance committee. I'm not looking for any action tonight. I sent out some information to you that showed those regions. I also sent along a letter that came from the governor's office that kind of explained this process of realignment. And I know that we have not had a representative from Warren County on the current region, Central Iowa. So I'm just simply here to answer any questions if you have any. If you had a chance to see the memo that I sent, if you have any questions for me.
You said that there were 16 and it's going down to 6. Are most of the directors staying the 10
Current, I don't have an answer to that yet. And do you mean like the directors as in the people that currently serve on that CEO board?
No, I guess the coordinators in each of the regions.
The Central Iowa region is the only entity that is actually they actually hired a part-time director. So we're not sure yet if that will continue. About a year ago, we took action to hire somebody on a contractual basis, making them fully aware that this could be temporary depending on realignment. So ultimately that's up to the CEO board and a full Central Iowa board to determine if they will continue down that path.
So each board would be over an entity, already existing agency?
So the workforce development board, they have partners. For example, like DMAC is one of the partners, and they work with them to provide services. Another one is Youth Services of Iowa. And some of these entities, what they will do, for example, like John Deere had a layoff. So DMAC, with our board, asked for some funds to go out there and do some job training for those folks that had been laid off. So that's just one example of the different type of programs that they do. Another one was, we worked with another partner that went out and interviewed several people that wanted to become mechanics. And what they did is they supplied them with all the clothes that they would need, even certain tools to go out and start that career. So those are just a couple examples of what the board does. The board generally oversees those different projects as requests come forward. But ultimately, they're the individual partners that go out and actually perform those activities.
Okay, thank you.
Some of the redistricting was kind of strange. I think it was Carol was going to kind of just Gilman County over here more.
Yes, we attended some of the meetings where this was discussed. At one point in time, they were proposing 2 regions. And as board members, we felt that was a real problem. We couldn't be effective in the entire state of Iowa trying to bring in participation with only 2 regions. Even this alone, I struggle to see how somebody from Carroll is going to want to drive and attend a meeting to be a part of that. But this is so much better than just 2 regions.
So where's Region 3 meet? Is it in Polk? Does it move?
Right now, we've met in downtown Des Moines, actually just next to the state capitol. Based on this setup, I can see where maybe there might be a move west to catch some of those locations like Carroll or Ottoman counties. And it's something that the process, generally what happens is the 3 of you would take some kind of action to say, hey, this is the person that we would like to appoint. And it would have to be one of the supervisors. That proposal goes to the governor and ultimately is a governor appointed position. So, like I said, I'm not looking for any action today, but I may come back and knock on the door again and see if there's interest down the road as this gets a little bit further.
Well, I'd like to ask, is there any members of the board that would like to be on this? For an answer tonight?
I'm currently working on getting onto another MPO board. But in the event that doesn't happen, then I'll volunteer myself.
We really want you to be on that MPO board.
But if I,
Even though I'm here on this,
If I'm able to make my way onto the MPO board, for a variety of reasons, that is I'm gonna do that instead, and I would encourage one of you two to do this one, because, it does also make sense.
Any more questions for me?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, item number 9, consider request from RAGBRAI Committee for the use of county properties with possible action. Do we have any of the members here? Okay.
I'm Gina Piper. This is Kathy Prappel, and we are representing RAGBRAI tonight. So our job is to lay out the event in the town and the community. So our goal right now is to link Simpson with the square. And obviously this lovely building sits in between the two. So, and the courthouse renovation is also playing a factor into this. So we have sent 3 requests in. One is for the use of the administration building and its parking and lawn. The next one was for, the parking lot north of the Opera Building. And then the use of the fence around the courthouse demolition area to hang banners or to decorate for the event. So our goal is to link both these areas together. The use here would be for vendors, potentially the beverage area. We would like to use the auditorium or gym area for our volunteer headquarters because it's centrally located. RAGBRAI is also coming in and needing some additional space. So some of the space will be used for that as well. For the lawn area adjacent to it as well. So we are asking for use of the county's facilities, property, for this event.
Okay, does the board have any questions? I've already met with them and we had another meeting this morning with department heads of the emergency response in Warren County. So they just had some concerns about the placement of the band and then that the south parking lot be left open. So other than that, I don't think there were any major concerns. I think we have a list that was forwarded to you, so.
The only other concern that I heard voiced was by our sheriff regarding, West Boston Avenue. I see that there's some parking spaces segregated out because we're still gonna have 911 or dispatch. They're gonna need a spot to park. They're also gonna need, it would be my preference for them to still have access there. Maybe that's an Indianola discussion, but, I guess the west part of West Boston Avenue, they just have to be able to get in there. And then in the unlikely event of fire or emergency or whatever, I don't want to see all the streets around the building closed off. But as long as we can work around that, and I think we can.
That might
Maybe
be
we
a
already
discussion,
maybe we've already
right,
done
with
that.
the police, or, I mean, I think the intention is that they will be barricaded off, but of course,
Sure.
there would be access into that parking lot. And, we were just talking this morning about where ambulances and fire trucks and stuff would be parked. So, I mean, that is part of the process of planning.
As long as we're taking that into consideration, I think it's a great idea.
Any other questions?
I think I would move the 3 proposals, and I know there was further discussion. I'm not sure how to work that into the proposal.
I think too that the emergency personnel would like to have a contact with their safety committee.
And I did tell Brian to share that today,
Okay, good.
to contact him. So I think once we figure out what usages we have, then the city will get involved and start working with the other components as well. Just kind of a big puzzle at this point.
So the only access that you don't want us to use is the south side parking lot?
Right. Well, depending on where the first aid tent is gonna be, I'd like to see access for ambulance to be able to go in and out. So other than that, I guess that's, and the placement of the band away from the building for 911. We were this morning from another department.
And move to approve the use of, to approve their applications and details can be worked out.
That's what I do.
That's
She makes me state the motions confusing. You just get away with whatever you want, I see how it works. I'll second that motion.
Schultz? Cook?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Okay, consider business lease, item number 10, consider business lease renewal agreement with Arrow Ridge LLC with possible action.
This is the county's lease agreement for where we house mental health and DHS. It's a 5-year lease. It's up for renewal at the end of this fiscal year. Brought before us is, when we originally did the lease, there was construction costs for them to build out the facility for our use. That is coming off of the lease. There's a 7.5% increase to the rent, which was on the original lease, that's what would be in there. So the new monthly payment would actually be less than what we're paying now because we're no longer paying on those construction costs. The total monthly payment will go from $6,577.50 to $5,039. This is a 5-year lease. I did reach out to the mental health director to see if there were any issues with the building or anything, but there was no concerns regarding. We have not had any problem with this lease or with any of the facilities, so that's been great.
Is it additional 5 years?
It is an additional 5 years. That would provide the county 5 years to determine where to continue on with leasing or make another plan for those departments.
I would make a motion to enter into a new 5-year lease at the stipulated $5,039 per month in the April 4 email rental agreement.
What was it, 539 or 59?
$5,039.
$5,039.
Second.
Schultz?
Aye.
Cook?
Aye.
McIntyre?
Aye. Okay, budget report, item 11.
Stone. Aye. You have before you the budget reports for March. Philip just did the amendment, so that won't show effective until the April reports. We can start with the revenues. Revenues that are less than the anticipated 75%. Recording of documents, the transfer fees, mortgage fees. Generally, those have an uptick in the spring when real estate picks up. We'll keep an eye on those. DCAT services, the reimbursements are based on the expenditures, so the money coming in is with the money going out. County engineer, the transfer for the county engineer of the taxes, you've got the second half transfer is done in April for the March installment, so that's not showing as revenues yet. Public health nursing, there are various grants that are coming in under than what we anticipated. Again, this was the first year that we had the decertified budget for public health, so we weren't sure exactly what those would look like. And they are down, but hopefully we'll see an uptick in those. General assistance, donations, those vary by years what they get for their revenue. It's not a significant dollar amount, just a percentage-wise. Wellness is the timing of the transfer, the second half of their transfer for the year. District courts, those reimbursements vary by year. It's hard to track, there's not really a methodology that I can track on those. Substance abuse, those are primarily alcohol license permits, and that just depends on when they come in throughout the year. So overall, the county is at 87% for revenues, and we want to see at least 75, but there are a few departments that are not quite reaching those goals. But then we have some that are considerably over. If we go to our expenditures, overall, the county's at 65.43%, so we're under expenses right now overall. We have a few budgets that are needing some amendments. The auditor's office, we'll need to discuss the auditor's office. I've talked about having a special meeting in regards to that. The sheriff's office is showing at the 79.58, but we just amended the 100,000. That should take care of his. Conservation Board, they had a large land purchase, that's why his is shown a little above. District Courts, that was in our amendment as well. General Services, those are annual property and liability insurance payments, the bulk of that is spent out in July. And then Juvenile Probation, again, this is legal and court-related services, shelter fees that come in. That one's, we have to keep an eye on, we may need to reappropriate to it, because it's hard to tell, it just depends on what type of juvenile services we're taxed with. If we go to our fund balances, you'll see my next item on the agenda is to do some transfers. One is the nutrition transfer of an additional $50,000 that we did for the amendment. We increased that transfer. Right now, at the end of March, the nutrition balance was at $586, so we need to transfer those funds into them. The wellness fund also is the second half of their transfer for the year. Right now, they're sitting at $8,000. They need that second half transfer to get through the rest of the year. And then there's the change to the secondary roads transfer, which is that increase to the tax transfer of the $250,000. So those are on there. But other than that, our funds, the general basic is down slightly, but that's from the prior year that we used some of that fund balance. Overall, it's looking fine. I did take out the bond proceeds from the percentages because that skews the number, because then it looks like we have, but those are designated, so I removed those from that. Those are my budget reports, if you have any questions in regards to those.
Okay, our next item is item 12, consider fund transfers with possible action. Amended interfund operating transfer to secondary road fund, B, general basic fund to nutrition fund, and C, general basic fund to wellness fund.
I went over those, that's that change, so it would be, the secondary road transfer is a percentage of tax collections. So changing that percentage at this point, I will go back and redo all transfers from the beginning of the year to these new percentages. And this would approximately $250,000 additional dollars into the secondary roads fund. The nutrition transfer is the $50,000 that we just amended for. And the wellness is $30,000, which was budgeted originally. It's just the second half of that budgeted transfer.
I would move the three transfers, 250,000, 50,000, and I think 30.
Second.
Schultz.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye. Okay, item number 13, we have a tax presentation by Megan.
Okay, I'm gonna use the new technology, you might have to help.
And Nathan, you get it. Nathan, you get it. Thanks.
How long do they generally last? Why did they not move that up?
I'll get there. Okay, there's been,
Excuse me. Thank you.
there's been a few, questions come through about, taxation and where your taxes go. So I put together a little presentation, about taxes in Warren County, where your property tax dollars go, and how the flow works. This slide is a Warren County total taxes levied by authority for fiscal year 19. Of all the tax dollars collected, schools make up 50%. Cities take in 27% of those tax dollars, and the county takes in 19%. Community college, assessor, township, the smaller, they take less than 1% to 2% of it. But the three main taxations are the schools, the cities, and the counties. This slide on your left is prepared by the Legislative Services Agency. And they've compiled the information for fiscal year 19 of all of the tax rates for the school districts within Iowa. The darker the color, the higher the tax rate. So you can see the Central Iowa region has higher school tax rates. That's a little fuzzier than I'd like that to be for you all to see. The high level, the darkest blue, is between $17.01 and $21.53 for a high levy rate in the school district. As you can see on the right side, I have listed all of the levy rates for the school districts within Warren County. Every school district except Martin-St. St. Mary's is in that highest category of taxation. And what the levy rate is, so for example, Norwalk, $19.68 per $1,000 of assessed value. That is the rate of taxation on the properties. The city's levy rates, again, within fiscal 19, if you can see the yellow area, the $11.98 is that statewide average for all cities within the state. Average for cities that are greater than 10,000 in population is $14.13. So our cities are listed on the right-hand side, all of their levy rates for fiscal year 19. The majority, if you Hartford and above, is greater than that statewide average. The smaller communities, primarily, are all below that average. The highest is Des Moines, who is listed as one of the highest in the top 10 in the state, at $17.24 per $1,000 of assessed value, followed by Norwalk, Carlisle, Lacona. That $14.13, the only community that we have that is greater than that average is the Des Moines levy that just reached out into Warren County. The county property taxes, the rate of taxation for the county, the average throughout the state for the urban levy is $6.32, compared to the county's levy in fiscal year 19 of $5.64. So we're 68 cents below the average for our urban levy. The rural rate for an average is $9.39. The rural rate within Warren County for fiscal year 19 was $9.27. So again, we're $12 below that average. When we isolate the county's levy, you can see that, of course, again, the darker the color, the higher the tax rate. Within our region, we are the lightest for our rural levy. Dallas would be the closest to us, surrounding us, that is lighter than us. However, Dallas County, they have a population of 87,000 and taxable value of $5.5 billion versus our 22.1 billion in valuation. So it's easier for them to reduce their, have a lower levy than we do for those. Our closest comparable is Clinton County. If you look to the right, Clinton County. Clinton County they're ranked 12th in population, whereas Warren County is ranked 11th. They've got 47,000 people, but they have 2.3 billion in valuations. They have less people, but they have more value, and their levy rate is still higher than Warren County's. When you consolidate all of those tax rates together, when you're paying your taxes, you pay all of those within your district together, and it's called the consolidated tax rate. The urban rate, average rate from ISAC Financial Overview states our urban rate is 39.9 for the average consolidated. Our rural is 29.71, and our countywide is the 35.77. All of these are greater than the statewide average, but as we just looked at, the county, the city portion are not what's causing that consolidated to be the highest. It's our schools, and all of the schools within the metro area are in that higher rate. I've put together a taxation example so you can kind of see all of those tax rates working together. I have an assessed value estimated around $300,000. That's the first piece of your taxation, is your assessed value. The second piece is the state issues a rollback, and essentially what they say is, of the assessed value, the taxing entities will tax this amount, and that's called the rollback. So generally that has been around 55%. So your assessed value is rolled back 55%. So your taxable value becomes $165,000. Now I picked District Allen Township, Carlisle School, and Carlisle Fire to give an example. In that district, your Carlisle School levy rate is the $17.85. Allen Township, $1.60. You've got your those assessor, the ag extension, DMAC, those smaller items that you pay, and then you've got the county tax on your district. And as you can see, I've calculated out with $165,000 taxable value, Carlisle School is receiving $2,945, or 60% of those property taxes. Allen Township is receiving 5%. Warren County is receiving 31%. So what does Warren County do with the 31% of the taxes that they receive from this example? This is a breakdown of Warren County's levy rate by each fund. There's a general basic fund, a general supplemental fund, There's the mental health fund and the rural basic fund. The levy rates are listed for each of these. The general basic is 3.5, which is the maximum. General supplemental at the $1.61. Mental health is at 52 cents. That amount is dictated to us from our mental health region. The county does not determine that rate. And the rural basic is 3.63%. So I've calculated out here of that $1,530 that the county receives. These are the funds that that money breaks down into. Of those funds, if we keep following right, there is a maximum transfer that can be done to the secondary roads fund. It's Iowa Code 331.429 dictates the amount, the maximum amount of transfer that can be sent to the secondary road fund. There's a cap on it. So in this example, and I have this at the maximum transfer where we're at right now after the amendment. So $27 of the general basic fund would go to secondary roads and $495 would go from the rural basic fund on this example. Where does the engineering budget revenue come from? Those property, that $500 would go into that 36% category of property tax. 36% of the revenues that secondary roads receives is from the taxation, the property taxes. 53% is from the road use. You have 10% for, in the fiscal year 19 example, for bridge replacement, reimbursement funds that come in. And then there's 1% for other permits, various reimbursements, those types of items. Engineering expenditures, so what they do with their $500, this is a breakdown of both fiscal year 19 in the orange and fiscal year 20 in the blue. I've broken the budget into categories that I thought were most pertinent for what people want to look at. So you can see that in fiscal year 19, 29% of the engineer's budget is for employee costs. In fiscal year 20, that'll go to 35%, 34.83. The second highest expense that the secondary roads has is the rock product. That doesn't count the equipment or the manpower, because that's broken into the employee cost. The actual rock product is the second highest expense. For fiscal year 19, it's at nearly 16%, and for fiscal year 20, it's 18.5%. Followed by bridges, culvert construction and repair, hard surface road construction and repair, equipment and tools, you can see as it goes down the line. So this is just a comparison of where those expenses are and how the engineer's budget is expended out, and what projects are receiving the funding. So the rest of those dollars that the county receives, other than we broke apart the secondary roads budget. So how does the county spend the rest of those dollars that you're receiving? The best example I could find, fiscal year 18, is what the State Association of Counties had available for expenditures by service area, which is the statewide average. And you can see 23% in fiscal year 18 was spent on public safety and legal services. In fiscal year 19, we're spending 21.5 on our public safety and legal services. 8.5% was spent on physical health and social services. We're spending 9.6. Mental health at 5.6 versus 4.3 for the county. And county environment and education, 6.5 is the average versus our 5.1. Roads and transportation, the average statewide is the 24.4% in 18 versus our 28.7% in fiscal year 20 for the roads and transportation. Governmental services to residents, administration, and then our debt service is at the 7.5, and our capital projects because of the large projects that we have going on. Really great resources if you want information about where your taxes go, how your taxes are calculated, any information that you could want. The Iowa State Association of Counties, they put out this county financial overview every year that breaks down county by county, values, levy rates, all sorts of information. The Iowa Department of Management houses all of the budgets and all of the valuations for statewide. The Legislative Services Agency, which the examples I showed on here that show the breakdown of how taxes are spread throughout the state, And the Iowa Department of Revenue has a really great overview of property taxation at their website. So these would be more sources if you're interested in finding out more about, and of course, I mean, I'm always available if anyone has questions or would like to see something. But this was just a brief overview of where your tax dollars go.
Thank you, Megan. Next item up is item 14, a presentation regarding Briggs Blue 150th with possible action. I promised I would talk to you folks about your concerns about your roads and options that are available to you as well as the county. One of the things that was brought up was there was a petition passed around. We found out it was in 2007. I don't have signatures. All that we were given, and thank you, Randy, for your information, was a compilation of residents in the Briggs area. I'll let you know, 63 property owners. On the information that was passed to us, says that 54 of the 63 property owners signed the petition, which is 86%. 86% of those in that area. Now, Iowa code states that you need to get 75% adjacent to the roads, the proposed roads that will be fixed. So I don't know because I don't have the signed petition, but regardless of whether we had it or not, that's from 2007, and I'm sure there's been moves and transfers of property. So we don't have any other records as far as Board of Supervisors meetings pertaining to this. I don't know what happened to the rest of this petition. And again, I will re-emphasize whether we have it or not, it would not help us today. Any questions pertaining to that? Comment? Okay. Well, I would like to go into a little bit about what was proposed back then. It was a cost estimate based on following conditions. The roads to be surfaced would be Briggs, 150th, 153rd, 150th and Blue, and then 150th and Buchanan. And they have the amount of feet that would be. It was a hot mix asphalt to be 3/4 base, coarse 300 ESAL mix. I don't know what that is, but I can tell you this was a, you would be in here today complaining about this road if it had been given to you back then. Okay, now let's deal with today. And what are our options today? Okay, first, if you want to get a petition together, I will go over the options that are available if you should want to get a petition together. But first, I'm just gonna go over the requirements for getting that petition. And that would be, you need to include in the petition as you go around to collect signatures, the roads to be improved, the exact number of miles, and we have calculated using your roads would be 2.25 up to 4 miles of roadway. We have the nature of improvement, which I'm going to talk about your options. We have the percentage of estimated cost to make the improvements. I had our engineer give me a rough estimate of the different options that would be available to you. When I say options, I mean you want paved concrete, asphalt, redoing the road to level A, you want a temporary fix. Those are your options of what you could pass around on your petition. And of course, our estimates are going to be high because these aren't true estimates. Until we have a petition in our hand, it doesn't make sense for us to spend money to get those types of estimates together for you. And then the lands that are to be included in the district. Now, the petition means that you want to be specially assessed for this project of improving the road. So this would be, the 75% of landowners adjacent to the proposed roads, have to be on that petition. It's gonna affect them. One of the major concerns out there is right-of-way, and that would be the drainage and the ditches, or lack thereof. We would need those who have land adjacent to those roads to donate the land so that we can make the proper, feet of the road and the drain, and the ditches. Okay. Okay, the different options that you have available would be 7-inch concrete paved. You're gonna need extreme grading needed for drainage and slopes. Possible, this is about 60 to 75% of the price of the project will be the grading and the sloping. Again, requiring voluntary donation of right-of-way to create the proper ditches. So we're looking at $3 to $4 million per mile. If you're looking at your 4 miles, I'm sorry, your 2.25, that's $9 million to do that with 7-inch concrete. Then if you're looking at, what was the 3 million? Yeah, 4 and then, what was the 2? Okay, the difference between the 4 and the 3?
Oh, the rough estimate was between 3 and 4 million, depending on.
Okay,
So
okay,
if it's
okay.
4, that's what, if it's 3, that's
Okay.
roughly.
So again, these numbers are high. So if you're looking at 4 million, we divide that by about 60 homes. You're looking at $150,000 per home. And that's gonna be $15,000 per year on a 10-year assessment. And if we're going with the 3 million, for the estimate, it would be 6.75 million to pay with the 7-inch concrete. At about 60 homes, you're looking at $112,500 per home, and that would be $11,250 per year on a 10-year assessment. Okay, I have another option for you, which would be to bring your road to a proper level A to 2019 standards. So a rough estimate of that is gonna be about 2 million, because it, again, you're looking at the 60 to 75% of that for grading. You have large hills and areas out there that really need addressing. So that it's about, to just bring a level B to a level A, it's about $500,000 per mile. So grading and drainage, and creating proper slopes for speed and distance, and of course, the voluntary donation of right-of-way. Number 4, we have temporary fixes for assessment. This may not last the whole 10 years that you would be assessed. We're looking at calcium chloride. Another option is fly ash, which is a lower grade concrete, or 6-inch rock overlay. Or your number 5 option, which is what we're doing currently. And you saw how much we spend per household out there. About $522 of your tax dollars goes to our engineer for personnel, rock, everything. So, those are the options I have for you. Are there any other questions?
I have a question, why are we asking this question?
was-
Where did all this come from?
This was asked 2 meetings ago. Let me address this first. Thank you.
I'm simply just, why are we thinking that we wanna pay for all these updates when what we want is what we are paying for?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to explain to you that we are using what we have right now.
I'm explaining to you that you don't do it right. That's, if you did it right, we wouldn't be thinking about paving a gravel road.
Well, yes, there's a high concentration of homes in your area. That is
Okay.
true. In the 1980s, your area was agriculture, and they started developing it. Now, what we are doing today is we have passed ordinances where if someone's gonna develop an area, we mandate that they pave it.
That's one. That's,
Doesn't help us now, but that's why we're looking at these options.
Who put these bids together for you?
I
Was this,
had different personnel throughout the county help me with this.
okay. Well, I think, you know, where we need to start at is, we all are taxpayers, and our roads are not level A. Let's start and fix the road to start. It wouldn't take, you know, when it rains out there, like I said, you know, I've called, I think 3 times this week. I'd like to see that grader out there on Blue tomorrow. I mean, it's dangerous at the bottom of the hill. It just, they bladed the other day up there and didn't even come down there.
But
What I'm saying is though, why don't we leave the ditches out, why don't we do what we started doing 3 years ago? Let's put some rock on the road.
we are
So
digging.
we don't get up, we don't want to pave road, we just want to be able to drive on a road after it rains.
It seems to me like you get assessed for.
Yeah, you know, let's just fix the road, let's fix.
I said $30,000 and my road is crap.
This is what a level A road should look like, here's the papers. You know, that you guys,
That's just it though.
well, you guys aren't
Your
even
road
close
is
to,
not a level A and.
you guys aren't even close to maintaining what we have, with what money we gave you. Oh, it's been 12 years, we started this project, we should have done this a long time ago.
No, we are not part of what happened 12 years ago.
Well,
We
you're
are not, that, the whole.
Okay, then what have you done for the last 3 years out there in our area? I can ask all these people right here, what have you done?
I can tell you that just in the last 6 months, $3,000 was.
Yeah, because you know what, you backed up there on Briggs there, you had to work your way back out of there, and the road, you know, is still, Briggs is so soft that you guys can't drive your equipment on it yet, because it is so soft. You've let it go for 10 years. You know, that's why we wanted to do this 12 years ago, because the roads were getting bad then. And now
I would
now
like to
from
know what
20,
happened.
from 2016, you have been our representative on our roads. He's been there also. He's been there also, 2015. So where are we at today again? You want us to pay for a road that we should be able to drive on every day?
We've been paying for it, and it got crap. Nothing.
I mean, I just think
$522 per household on average.
$500 will buy a lot of rock, I understand that.
Would you be open, there's another option, would you be open to us closing certain roads, turning it over to you as homeowners, and you pay and take care of your.
No.
Cut my assessment in half, I'll take care of more. Cut my assessment right in half.
It's not based on.
That's what it's about, I mean, geez.
There's only so much money.
You brought all these options.
Yeah, so do we.
You brought all
We
these.
got so much money too.
You brought all these options to the table, you're wanting us to fix our road, which you guys need to fix our road. Let's just start right there, fix the road. And there's parts of the road that have no ditch. You guys started this project 3 years ago, you was in there when you were doing all this. They didn't finish the
And we're still
work.
behind in
Well,
ditching.
they never finished the work.
I've been in my house for 5 years and I still don't have ditching done.
I went down your way the other day because people said, you know, that she's got all this rock, and I said, I'll just go see. Well, you really don't have all that rock. But I did find where a lot of rock went out there in you guys' area. And I'll show you a video here in a little, pardon me,
Well, I don't know where you
on 150th, south of 65.
150th Road, where I live.
Yeah, I said that, I come down by where you live. Because people said you got all this rock. Well, you didn't get no rock. But I want to show you a video where somebody got lots of rock on a dead end road on 150th. I have a question for that. I'd like to play it on the video, but,
Okay.
you know, I mean, there's 5 loads of rock dumped, bang, 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 and that road is only, well, there's only one house on it. I'd like to have an answer why we rocked, you know.
One house gets garbage service and that one garbage truck tears up the road, that's why.
5 loads of garbage. Well, what's about the garbage truck going down my road? I love it dead end road.
We're not gonna get anywhere. I cannot hear you.
I know, but I'll show you this video.
Okay.
when we're done here, because I'd like to have an answer myself.
You said it's approximately $522 per home.
But that's the average.
Okay. And you said there's approximately 63 homes out there?
There's probably
Well,
70.
according to that,
Okay, so 63, so that's $33,000. And you said in the last 6 months, there's been $6,000 per rock foot. So where is the other $33,000 that us taxpayers spend for that road?
it's a collective effort. You have to pay for gas, you have to pay for employees, you have to pay for machinery. So when you're talking rock, one load of rock was 130 feet, and that is.
24 feet wide.
Yep.
For about lower rock or lower rock.
It's not even 2 inches, it's 1.
But I can't imagine being
So one-
$30,000 in personnel costs to haul $6,000 per rock.
One load of hauled rock on a twin axle dump truck is $300. It will cover approximately 130 feet of roadway, 1 inch thick. So when you go 2.5 miles, which is about the complaint area, is 11,880 feet. And then if you take that divided by 130 feet, you get 91 dump trucks to cover 2.25 miles with 1 inch rock. So that's, again, 27.3, and then your tax collections are 31,320. And you look at about 60 homes at 522. So that's pretty much the sum of, and I don't have all of the records for everything that was spent in your area, but I can tell you when I was here in 2016, 4 of those trucks went out in 2 days, the belly dump trucks. So that was way more than what we give to any area at one point. So, okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How come other counties can gravel their roads, or have problems with gravel on their roads? I came from South Dakota, I drove down there, Taylor County, one of the poorest counties in the state. I still have friends and family down there. Their roads are fine. I go down there, visit them, there's gravel on the roads. They come up, visit me, they ask me every time, what is wrong with your roads? What is the deal with your roads? Your roads are horrible. Then they want to come down my roads. I mean, other counties can do it, why can't Warren County? Why can't we?
Warren County has a focus on rock in our roads for the next budget. It hasn't been in previous budgets. I was not here.
The problem is
did
you
not
need to lay
have
6
control
inches of
over-
gravel on all the roads, everything. I mean, and you know that, and you need it.
What, I'm sorry.
You need to lay 6 inches of gravel on all the roads. They only need 6 inches of rock.
I've been taught that 1 inch.
No. TME can't address the problem. They want 4, 5, 6 inches. You know, I mean, so,
Okay,
and you can't just say there's not
I
money,
agree
you
with
just
you,
have to
but
live on
I'm
mud
not an
roads.
engineer.
I mean, you just can't tell us we gotta live on mud roads, ain't right. I mean, how do you tell people that it is what it is? This is the money we have, and there's no other money for it to deal with.
Well, I can tell you that we have invested in putting more rock on the road for the next however long we are.
Which is July 1,
Yeah.
July 1 is the new budget.
after the rainy season.
I can't help it, but it's.
My problem is, as a mother, and I have a husband who is a firefighter, he is telling me, I'm telling you, if our house catches on fire, it's gone.
Yeah. An ambulance trying to get to you, what
No.
if they have to get over, if you meet somebody, they gotta get over, they're done, you're done. You know, you have to sit and watch your house burn. I can imagine an ambulance riding.
You came down last Friday, and did bricks, but you spent all day down there. We got a 1/4 inch of rain, you couldn't even get down. It was sloppy on the ground. Yeah, 1/4 inch rain.
We need to.
You did bring.
I do know that the harder the rainfall, the better it is.
But you guys are wasting time too in our tax dollars. Going down
We
grading
can't
dirt.
predict the rain, though.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
Once again, you have to build a road base. It doesn't take 1 inch rock, it doesn't take 6 inches, you build the road base. If you got a mud hole, go there, put something in it, make the mud hole go away. I don't have a place to put 600, 900 pounds of mud at my house every time it rains and take it away from the damn road. Because y'all don't know, I don't think you have an engineer. Or at least if you do, his credentials suck.
You know how much 6 inches of rock is per mile?
Yeah, a lot. that's what it's come to.
It does need it, but that, you know how many ton per mile 6 inches of rock?
Like I said, you need $1 billion
How many-
to fix the problem. It's-
You know,
it's-
This should have never been to this
4,000
point.
tons.
Exactly.
Hang on, he had his hand up.
Well, first of all, insulting people isn't gonna get us anywhere. We are where we are, okay? And I live in the same piece of crap road you do, right down from here. But, David, a question to you. Is there a plan for the secondary roads that are assessed, prioritized? How are they done? Or do we just throw rock on 300 or 600 miles of gravel road every so often and see what we get? Because that's what it appears to me like. Now, I agree, the new plan going forward on development is to force the developer to foot the bill, which they should do. However, we're not there, we are stuck where we are. So, I mean, that's the question, what happens? Because $1.6 million in gravel road isn't gonna go very far for the whole county, let alone one area of 2.5 to 4 miles. So that's what my question is there even a process to look at roads? Or do we just wait for a phone call, send a truck out and wait for the next phone call? Because that's kind of how it feels. Now, I don't know what the plan is, that's what I'm trying to find out. Because if there's a plan, developing a plan would be a good first step. Because we're replacing a lot of bridges, there's a dinky little bridge on Buchanan, you know, between this area and another, and you go, really, we're gonna replace that bridge? Why? A bridge on a crappy, well, I understand that, but you have access from both sides, and you have a bridge over a crappy road. So you kind of go, well, yeah, so I don't know. So David, maybe you can answer that, I don't know.
He was asking about a plan to improve our roads.
At our funding levels, about all we can afford is to spot rock and crews, so what we've done existing is contract haul, blanket a whole road.
Hang on.
Next year, with the increased revenue, we're hiring 3 more staff and purchasing belly dump trailers to start hauling more rock into the county, doubling what we can input into the county with our own forces. And that was due to a slight increase of revenue into next year that they keep mentioning.
Is there any way to
Right.
meet with other engineers and just like get their ideas on how do they maintain their roads so well and ours?
We haven't had budget to do that in the last years. We do the year coming up. That is our focus, is public safety, it's safety services, which is what the engineer does. So that's our focus.
So David, does someone go out and assess the roads, or you just wait for a phone call?
We have 2 road superintendents that drive around and assess the roads.
Please send them out tomorrow.
So does the...
Okay, so we're not your personal servant, we're not your servant's Kevin.
Well, I understand that.
And
I understand that. You come out and look at my, I know you
I
don't
don't
like
think
me.
you do.
I know you don't like me and I don't care. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You are here to serve us. And you're here to do a job for us. You're here to, take care of the people on the road. And you ignore everybody. I just want to say that, we talked a long time ago about, we put a counter out there on the road, and he said no because he thought we'd drive over it and abuse it.
I say no to counters because if there's no money to pave the road, then what good is the traffic count?
So what do we need a $7 million building for down there? We don't have any rock to put on the damn road. We're gonna do all the vehicles, as I'm said. For a $7 million building?
We are going to improve efficiencies in our county.
Why don't we fix the roads and then put up a building?
You're asking to,
Why don't we?
where's the money coming from? This is gonna save money, just 1% efficiency in his department is $250,000 more.
The man said he's been an engineer for 3 years. Our roads are getting worse every year. These
He
people aren't
hasn't
making
had the
this up.
budget to do what he needs to do in the first place.
140
Now
of
he
them.
will.
140 of them. Why don't we close that road down there or something? Because every time it floods, you guys put tons and tons and tons of rock on 140. It's a floodplain.
That's a
It's
valid
a floodplain. Why don't we fix the road down there, build it up, or shut the road off? You guys spend tons and tons of rock down there. You say, he says, there's more traffic on 140th than there is in our area.
No,
I don't believe it.
Don't go there. You can't drive, unless you don't go.
You know, and if we
There's
can,
one house there that keeps us from vacating it.
Pardon me?
There's one house there, I mean, you gotta have access to that house. We would love
But
to
we're saying
vacate
the
that.
fire trucks don't have access to our house. That's my issue, is it's gotta be safe, like, we all have the right to be safe in our roads.
You're exactly
And
right.
we're
That's
not.
why we're putting more money into his department. $1 million more for rock is going into his department.
Right, but
But
based
it's
on
still-
that, you're not gonna make a dent. David, how much you need? $20 million?
But if the roads
You need
are
at least 6
not,
inches of rock on every road, I mean, that's. max what you need.
And the
That's
proper
not-
size
You
road.
can't afford it, so
Yeah.
not even close.
We need these people that are driving these road graders to know how to grade the road. The roads do not have crowns, so the water just sits. We've got to have people that know what they're doing. Why throw more rock on it if you're not gonna fix the road to begin with? It's not gonna work.
Is it possible to divert some of the budget in that, department? Like, at times I think they're a little overzealous when it comes to cleaning up these ditches. They come in and just butcher everything down. So let's give that a moratorium for a couple of years and divert some of that funding back into the roads and kind of get it caught up or equilibrium.
We're behind about 2 to 3 years in our ditching. So yes, we have diverted funds from ditching back to our roads.
Anything else in that department that can be tied up?
A lot of things happen. Any thoughts on that, David, on what you have diverted in years past? Put more rock?
This year we started with a $14 million budget and we cut it down to $9 million. And part of those cuts were ditching, mowers, things of that nature. Our main focus was to, after those cuts, put it all towards basically traveling lanes.
What do you think the more populated areas will get more attention, I would think? I mean, well, it don't seem to be.
May I respectfully ask that you consider too the type of rock that's being used?
There you go.
It's just, as soon as rain hits it, it's just going to mush. I don't know what it is, but it's not the same type of gravel that we had previously.
Rock, not mud.
It's crushed limestone that meets Iowa DOT.
I feel for David, I do. You've got a small budget, you're trying to do the best you can. I doubt very seriously that you hate anybody that's in here, despite statements to the contrary. I think you're trying to do the best job you can with limited resources. The issue that we have is that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again, expecting different results. And I don't believe the issue is a lack of money, actually, although that is certainly part of it. Certainly part of it. It's a failure of the county to be good stewards of the money made available as it pertains to our roads. It's been said that no one will remember what you said, but only how you made them feel. We feel like unloved stepchildren of the county due to the current condition of the roads. We feel badly, each day, every day. Yes, even when it doesn't rain. The mud is so bad as to impact the steering axle's ability to turn the tires. What happens when Johnny runs out in front of my daughter's little Prius? Don't get me started on the Prius. She can't turn. It was worse than the buildup in the inside of the wheel well was so horrible. She only had like 10 degrees of turning available. I had to clean off all that mud to make steering even a possibility. This is a problem. 11 years ago, there was a 5-year plan for paving the roads immediately south of Cumming, where I am. But the issue is really county-wide, as we're obviously hearing, right? Regardless, the roads have degraded such that I'm concerned over my family's and my guests' safety. I drive a 3/4 ton pickup. It's 4-wheel drive. Why am I almost losing control at 25 miles an hour right after it rains? This is insanity. You shouldn't necessitate an all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, lifted truck with mud tires to traverse the county's road when you pay taxes. My assessment went up crazy. A lot of y'all did as well.
For nothing.
The issue is that we're doing the same thing, expecting different results. I called the county, the poor lady who answered the phone in your office, David, I felt for her. I was like, I am so sorry to be calling you, because I am certain that your phone is just ringing every 5 minutes. We're gonna get off this one, there's gonna be somebody else complaining about the roads. It's not her fault. She's doing the best job she possibly can. Listening, hearing, empathizing. But she can only do that what she can do. What a horrible position to be in. The man needs more money. That's all there is to it. But in addition to that, we need drivers who understand how to grade, to this young lady's point. We have no crown on the road. We have instead valleys in the middle of our road for the rock to sit. We don't have an unlimited supply of funds to add 6 inches of rock to our road. So what happens is, to the points made, the gravel comes out, a dump truck or two is dumped, it looks beautiful until it rains, because somebody's telling you that 1 inch of rock is gonna fix it, everyone here is saying, I don't exactly think so. Why? Because 1 inch of rock is gone the first time it rains. It's gone. You might as well not have bothered putting it there. In fact, do us a favor and don't put it there. Please instead, think about the possibility of changing the way that we do what we're doing. We don't have unlimited money. Who wants to be assessed $115,000, $15,000 a year for 10 years? Who's got that kind of coin? Very few of our county's residents have that kind of coin. It doesn't matter whether you do, or I do, or she does. It matters whether we all do. Right? I remember a conversation with Doug a few years ago. I asked Doug, and Doug made a road visit. I said, Doug, please come out and drive my road. Please. And he did, because Doug's a great guy. In case you guys don't know, Doug's a great guy. He came out and he drove me, and he says, well, after I spent an hour and a half cleaning the mud off my car, yeah. And you know what? The truck was out there the very next day. And it got better for a very short period of time. What's the problem? The number one problem is the lack of drainage. Absolutely. There's not even a question. What about instead of spreading rock 24 feet wide, what about if we tried to reestablish our crown by first of all, retraining our graders on the importance of maintaining a crown? And number two, when we spread rock, how about if we just forget about spreading it 24 feet wide, even though we'd love to? David wants 6 inches of gravel on all of our roads. I know he does. David's not a bad guy. David, we don't even know. You and I talked on the phone a few times. You don't even know. Because this is the first time I've ever seen you. Right? David wants to do the right thing. We all want to do the right thing. We want to live and be able to, if there's a fire, we want to be able to get there and, hey, and not have a problem, all these kinds of things, right? This is standard stuff. What about the possibility of taking that 24-foot wide of gravel? Let's just build a singular lane. Just one, right in the center. Now, listen, some might say no, no, no.
That's right.
Well, hang on, I got the floor. Hang tight.
3 minutes,
I'm almost there. The point is that unless we change what we're doing, we're going to have the same problem over and over again. We don't have unlimited money. What about the possibility of spreading just a singular, just one lane right in the middle? At least that way it drains off. If you look, all of you can see this whenever it rains. Where does everybody drive anyway? In the middle!
That's because you need rock on the edges, it's so soft. You
Absolutely.
can't just do it down the middle.
Well, I totally understand. But unless we reestablish the base in the middle, and by the way, how about if we just establish a provision right now? No more fines. Clean rock only, no more fines. Why? Because if your road's gonna be slightly bumpier for a few days, freaking get over it. I'd rather have bumpy than 14 inches of rust. Right? No more fines. If it's not clean rock, we shouldn't be spreading it. I suggested to the poor lady answering the phone in David's office, I said, how about, we've got, it's just solid mud. I said, you know what? Write me a ticket now if you must. It's fine. But I took my personal tractor, I dropped my scarifiers, and I went on the county's road. Just to see what I would see. And I didn't know the signs. Okay? And only for about half mile. I dug down 6 inches. And what did I find? Mud. Just mud. And by the way, more mud after I found the mud that I found the first time. Right? There's nothing there. So what we have to think about is, how do we reestablish our base when we don't have the money to give 6 inches of gravel to David? It's not that David doesn't want 6 inches of gravel, he just doesn't have the money. And in July, he's not going to have that kind of money either. He's going to have some increased modicum amount, but it's still not going to be enough. And in a year, we're still going to be in the same point that we're at right now, unless we do something different. So, what do we do different? Maybe an answer is to only spread it down the middle to reestablish our crown. Maybe an answer is to retrain the grading crew to understand, hey, how about if when there's a pothole that's 14 inches deep, how about if we not fill it with half-inch rock? Right? That's ludicrous. But this is what's happening. So unless we change what we've been doing, we're going to continue to have what we're getting. Because all we know as residents is how we feel. And how we feel is like unloved stepchildren of the county. While our taxes continue to go up. And we worry about our kids' safety. It's just not okay. I own and operate a business in Cumming. I was thinking about possibly moving it back. I used to operate it out of my residence. We do a fair amount, we do a fair volume. We bring revenue to the county. I'm thinking about leaving the county for this reason. Because my customers don't want to come down this road. I've got an exceptionally good friend of mine who's trying to operate a wedding business. Maybe you know her. She could possibly be sitting next to me. I don't know. She's trying her darndest to try to get brides. We're talking 20-somethings, females, to be excited about coming out to an apple orchard, because who wouldn't want that? Oh, never mind the mud for your guests. It won't hurt you. I'm sorry, yes it will. What happens when the bride high centers her Corolla? All because the grader didn't know what they were doing. This is not okay. So we have to be willing to look at alternative solutions that don't involve taxing us to death. An alternative solution is retrain the graders, drop the scarifiers to cut out the potholes, have them reestablish a crown in the middle by grading what little rock there is, and then coming with fresh rock with no fines, and drop it right down the center. And if you're only doing 8 feet wide, it'll go 3 times as far. And then more people are happy. Just some ideas. Thank you for listening.
I'm gonna make a comment that has something to do with stuff, and that is your office is being closed from 12:30 to 1:30. McDonald's doesn't close, et cetera, et cetera. I don't understand why I come here to do whatever business it is I am here to do, and then you're closed for lunch. There's 2 people in that office most of the time, and sometimes 3 and 4. And you're closed. Wrong. Second, they came down my road, they chopped all the damn trees out of the ditch, they left them lay. They chopped the trees in the front of my house, they left them lay. 9 months later, I finally burnt the damn things because they wouldn't do it. They lied to me, and they lied to me. And as far as the person in that office being nice, she was condescending as hell when she lied to me. So, I don't care. Second, they came down my road at one point and put in a couple culverts. Some more culverts were bad. So they stuck a post in the side of the road, 10 feet from the side, 5 feet from the side that says, I don't know what the hell it says, but you can't go there. But why not fix the problem? Third, those same areas, they don't drain. So I go down there, I open them up so they do drain, because there are low spots in the road because the culvert's gone. So I open it up myself. I take the time, I do that. My road's still a mud hole. I call them, I say, I'm axle deep in the mud. The guy comes out, a supervisor. What the hell's a supervisor doing coming out to my house to tell me if my road's good or not good? I know my road was bad. I fixed it. I drove it back into shape. And it wasn't bad. But it is bad because it ain't nothing but dirt. I don't know what his job is, but a supervisor doesn't really. I'll tell you another thing. They chopped those trees out of my ditch. They didn't do a damn thing for 3 and 4 hours. They sit in their truck until that supervisor, who was dealing with complaints from the public, was out doing whatever that job is. Those people didn't go to work because there was no supervisor to tell them what to do. Even though they was gonna do the same thing that day that they did the day before, et cetera, et cetera. So, if you take care of some of the shortcuts, if you put some rock in the road, you build the road, we won't have any problem. Them culverts being bad, why did you put 2 in? There were not holes in the road per se, any worse than what there are now. So, fix the stuff, fix it right, that's what we pay taxes for. That's it, I'm done.
Those 2 employees fill multiple roles. One is half human resources, the other one helps with payroll, and helps with the entire county offices as a whole. If one employee, for instance, might have a sick child, leaves only one employee to man the window there, or women in the window, so to speak. So if I need to call other offices for backup though, to keep it more open, we can certainly try that out.
Okay, still, what's the qualification of that supervisor to come out there and tell me anything? He's a supervisor over people that work for him. He doesn't mean nothing to me. You are an engineer, you're supposed to be the one that comes out there. And another thing, we'll just go right there. Nobody ever calls me back when I call him and complain about something. Until I call her, or I call 15 times, and then somebody finally comes out. And then, well, and I mean, we're not gonna do anything because your road's really not that bad. Yeah, it is, but you didn't see it today because I fixed it, so I'm done. In fact, I think I'll leave it.
Well, so as Ed said, I just purchased Happy Apple Orchard. It's an event venue. I've lived out there my entire life. I grew up driving. It's Clark Street, so it's not quite 150th, but Clark's had no problem.
Is this for,
Is that next?
Yes.
But it has to do with the roads.
It does.
Okay, so I'll wait.
Okay,
All right, well, thank you.
all right, well, I just wanna make sure that I give the Briggs area their chance for citizen.
I have observed the grader at times, and I think they make an attempt to put a crown in it. But before the rock goes on it, we have that crown up in our window well, our wheel wells, we've got it in our driveways, we've got it in our garages. We're hauling it out of there on the tires, just right and left. As they can say, it's about that thick on every tire, so to, I think, get a crown established, you're gonna have to follow that grading with rock almost immediately. And if it takes the one load down the middle to protect the crown, that's an idea, but that crown does disappear. And of course, in the cost of everything, you do have efficiencies. And we see the employee wages be very high. Are we using them efficiently? I don't know how much time you got to supervise, David, but that's a consideration, getting efficiencies in what we are doing. And then, of course, I hear the type of rock. I think, you know, if you put one on that stays twice as long, if it's half as expensive, that's a good move. So looking into that may be another thing that really needs to be done, because it literally disappears in 2 days, if it rains, 2 days.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are issues that happen. I know 2 people had rims out there. I know there's been a lot of social things. If you can't have people over, like the gentleman said, because they literally can't drive to your house, you wouldn't ask them to do that. And it doesn't take more than just over 1/10 of an inch to make it a bad place to live. And I know it's aggravating when you get your assessments and they're way up and you think, well, my God, my property value, people would live here if they drove on this road to look at it and buy it. You couldn't give it to them. So there are some big concerns. The efficiencies should be done, I think, and I don't know how you do your efficiency study, but do it to the cost of the labor, the machine, and put that load. And the rock is one cost. What does it cost to get it down in labor? That's the cost we pay. And I would like to see that kind of looked into so that we know. And then, again, if there's one load.
About $20 a ton, you could assume.
For the cost to get it
To
down?
get it out there,
Okay. Well, those.
$10.50 material cost, and then the rest would be hauling.
From the quarry or from your plat?
From the quarry. But generally, that's from anywhere, because another $1 that would be to have equipment there, stockpile rock in a pile, $1 per ton.
We're hauling at Knoxville.
This is just a general number, so.
One of the improvements, that $1 million is going into rock, is for 2 more belly dumps and 3 more personnel. And that is gonna lower our costs over time in hauling that rock to the county. So yes, that is an efficiency that is being changed, so. okay.
Are we classified as a level B? Is that what you're classified as?
In the Briggs area?
Yeah.
No. That it was never built properly in the first place, which is
So what
what
level
we're
is
dealing
it?
with right now.
What level is it currently? Like blue?
It's considered an A.
Considered
You
an
do
A?
not get rock on OBs.
Isn't there
Would it be
criteria
cheaper for our assessment if we lived on a level B?
Live on.
Say that again?
Our assessment should be if they're not level B, then a level A if we don't have any rock. But it's not. I bet it's $3,000.
Those papers that you had earlier on, hey. Those papers that, I want them to hear, those papers that you got as far as them 60 homes, I think now we have around probably 68 homes now. And in 07, the assessment value on those like 60 homes was like 14 million. Since 07, we've had like 6 homes built, and their estimated is around 203 million now. So now we're up to 16.5 million. Now we got the new assessment. So now are we close with these 70 homes now at $20 million in homes? Could you put that together?
I'm not an assessor.
Could you put that together for us?
All the
I
numbers
mean,
that we told you tonight in the budget
Yeah.
presentation, that's how we get our money from you. The assessment is just the assessed value. We
Yeah.
go by
Yeah.
the assessment, but we go by the rollback
Okay.
and by
We
the
got-
valuation.
We got, let's say 70 homes, it's $300 a truckload, so if we got 300 truckloads of rock,
In your area,
But we've
it's
done-
about $522 goes to our engineering and secondary roads department. That is, those are the numbers that we figured out, that she showed you in the budget presentation.
so is it cheaper to buy belly dumps then, or just to contract and have belly dumps bring out the rock? Like you did in 2016, you guys came and rocked the road, I think the day before the meeting or something, and everybody went home and we were all happy, we really were, because we've seen some rock. But we haven't seen that since.
But that took away from other areas of the county.
Yeah, well, there's other
They were-
areas
they
that,
were
I got a
sacrificed.
video I wanna show you that some of these might not need any rock, but, and that's what I'm saying, 140th, you said in that email way back that, we have to approach at least 450 cars on our road to get any assistance from anybody else.
But all the roads that are at 450, we don't have the money to even pay those.
Where's all these cars at on some of these other roads that you guys have paved in Warren
I
County?
think Balloon Field Road, I think that's 140th out there, that gets way over 450 per day.
No, there's a couple other roads that don't get that. Well, I'm just saying, I mean, I really wish that you guys would take and put a counter out there for a couple of weeks. That the last time they did put it, it was in the morning, and they put it out about 2 o'clock, they picked it up, and away they went with it. They were gonna do it once again, but they said, well, Waterworks is working out there, so we don't wanna do it now, because they're gonna be driving in and out. These guys live on a hardware store. These guys, white top eating, these people can't invite people out to their houses because we do need to fix the road. And there is a lot more, I sat up there one morning on spring break Monday, and in 4 hours counted 70 cars just in 4 hours. That was spring break day. So I really would maybe just put a counter out there and just get an idea how many people are traveling that little road out there. And if we don't get a 6-inch asphalt or concrete, let's get some rock on the road so that it is a little safer. I mean, the garbage truck, they won't come down into the road down there, so if he wants to talk about somebody getting garbage, dump 5 loads of rock from my mailbox at the end of my road, I'll be happy.
You're lucky if the school bus gets through, what do you mean?
The school bus now is turning around in their driveway, because they won't come to the end of the road and turn around, because they don't. And so now, you're not only rocking the road, now that, you should rock their driveway also.
So that's 550 total, and that still gets dispersed throughout our budget. So if you just look at kind of an average, an eighth of our budget is just the material itself, rock, take an eighth of the $550.
In the last 3 years.
So you asking for even 5 loads of rock is well over what you're generating in revenue.
The last 3 years, our service has gone down a lot worse with rock. And he is right. You gotta call, and poor Heather, when you call, I'm sure she probably knows everybody that lives out there by their voice. I know they know who I am. I say, just come out here and send him out here to look at the road and do something. If they come out there tomorrow and look at blue down at the bottom of the hill, they're gonna go, we should have been out here. I can take your car right now, you go out there and drive down the center of that road, and it's about this tall in the middle, and it's about that deep on each side. This is in the center of the road. There's been several people calling in about this. Last Friday, it was before 2 o'clock, they did break, then they went down 150th, or 153rd, turned around, didn't go down blue, or didn't go down 150th. That's why we're saying, we do feel like a little lost stepchild. I mean, it's before 2 o'clock. So is he done for the day? I mean, and I know we have the old guy back, and like I said, he tries to get everything he can out of the ditch on the road. But he's getting the mud out of the ditch too. And it's making it really difficult out there.
I did call him, and the nanny got stuck in my driveway. I've lived down there 8 years, and for whatever reason this year I had this huge hump. It's like 12 inches tall, right in front of the drive. Going past it, you could just pelt that out.
Shake it down.
Yeah, even and maybe you guys get like a little skid loader crew that just could come around, because then there's a big hump. But it is, like, we can shake that down. I don't know why this year, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's frost.
In the morning, maybe you and David could come out and look at our roads.
Wait till Thursday.
Yeah,
Wait till
it
it
rains.
rains. Wait till it rains.
I'll talk next week, Kelly.
You know, it needs to be, I mean, we
I'm
need,
not gonna schedule my time.
we need that corner. Well, there's a safety issue. That's what I'm saying. Seriously, if I drove, my car down the center of the road where it should be crowned, it's this deep on both sides of it. I'd probably be bottomed out, I'd be sitting there on the road. It is that bad. I think the school bus is turning around in that driveway, and they're backing in around there, and they've got it all tore up.
I just wanna know that moving forward, there's a plan, we address that there's an issue, there's a plan, not only for more rocks, we know that's not gonna fix it, but for education for the people that are providing those services for us.
We're gonna be talking about this for years.
That's my fear, that's my fear.
It's been 12 years.
Okay,
It's the
so-
same shit.
I have to move on.
All right.
Okay, so we have, Warren Height regarding 330th Avenue, south of Highway G14, possible action.
I'm not gonna worry about it,
Okay.
and I promise I'm not gonna ramble. I think everything I was going to say is pretty much covered. I thank you for letting us come and talk, first of all. I'm talking about cell 44/30th and 25th, south of G14 and County. See, it all boils down to maintenance.
Hang on just a second, let these people leave so I can hear you for sure.
Would you like some pictures of my article I saved too?
You want to pass an option?
Pictures of doing justice. Yes. My turn? I'm really short. Anyway, it boils down to maintenance, that's what we need. The crown, everything's been covered, but I'm just gonna read it anyway. The crown's been removed, many times the road is graded to form a curb, like on the sides preventing, proper drainage resulting in bad conditions. It only takes a fourth of an inch of rain to make them horrible. Just putting gravel down, I feel is, and I'm no road expert, that it's just band-aiding the roads. The roads are very uneven with lots of ruts. We have a drainage issue, so I feel if we could get the proper contour of the road forming the crown, not the edges, it would provide drainage, and then the proper amount of clean gravel would be adequate again. Right now, we're pretty much level B quality. I've sent many pictures to Aaron and David, and an article from the Indianola paper regarding this. Pictures just don't do it justice. But I was gonna mention that County Line Road to the west of the interstate and south of G14 that Madison County maintains, they did something within the last year or two. Even putting some sort of fabric or something and they have a crown. And that gets bad when it's, muddy, but theirs are in much better condition. I thought maybe that they could, have a dialogue and find out maybe what they're doing different that might help. Anything. And after winter, the roads are the worst ever remembered. Yes, it was a hard winter, but proper maintenance, again, may have alleviated the problem. They covered everything already about the emergency vehicles and all the people getting stuck and garbage and all that. My question is, are we using the gas tax that's supposed to go towards the roads? Doesn't seem like any of the roads, I mean, paved roads even. And what about auto seal? Is that one of the things that you mentioned?
Auto seal?
Auto seal? David mentioned it to begin with.
There's some other counties that just put it down, but I'd rather them need a test dummy for that.
Okay, got it. Also, we have Diligent, putting an aggregate in across the road from us. Will they be required to pave? Like how soon?
As soon as they start developing,
They said they were gonna break ground this year.
as soon as they do.
So if we just be patient for the next year or so, they could, does that mean they'll pave the perimeter? Clark, 30th, South 44th?
You'll have to ask Lindsay who's here, but I think that the requirement of the code and the ordinance is.
So my problem's solved.
Hold on, you're jumping the gun there, Sam. anything that's, new development, you have to pave to pavement. That is the ordinance that we are not gonna bend. People ask for exceptions all the time. I own 40 right on 80 acres, I want to subdivide it, make a bunch of money, and you have to pave to pavement. So I can't tell you for certain, in fact, I'm not gonna tell you at all, with the development question about what Clark Street, which